Hi guys, Josh Lloyd here giving you your NBA first look for DraftKings for Monday's slate of action in the NBA, 8 games on. Let's talk about those games right away. The first game is the Bucks and the Magic. It looks like Giannis Antetokounmpo will return, but we don't know the status of Evan Fournier. For the Magic, Michael Carter-Williams remains out. Of course, there's no Markelle Fultz or Jonathan Isaac. If we're looking at value in this one, there's no spread actually, but no spread or total out for this one, by the way. I guess they're waiting to see if Yanni is back, but he's probable he's going to play. In terms of value here, Cole Anthony at 5,600. Look, he hasn't been awesome to begin things. I still think that he, at that sort of price, at that 5,600 salary, he's at least worth a look. Anthony, in the last 2 games where he started, 24 and 15 points, which is not fantastic. Then he had 18 in that other game against the Cavs where he took over from Fultz. He's not dreadful, but I would only look at him as a GPP guy. Yanni's at $11,000. Now, the risk I think you have here with Antetokounmpo is that this one is a blowout because the Magic have really struggled since Markelle Fultz has been out. And, of course, having no Evan Fournier doesn't do a lot to strengthen your team. DiVincenzo at 54, not great there. I think Aaron Gordon at 67 is all right. Chris Middleton at 82, probably one of the safest floor players. He's just shooting at an unbelievable clip, averaging over 40 DraftKings points, and that's pretty good value, I think. So I do like Chris Middleton quite a bit at that sort of salary. Any other names I need to look at? Drew Holiday at 6,900, that's coming down a bit. Brook Lopez at 49. I just think the matchup in terms of the blowout nature probably precludes Lopez. I think you've got to look at Bobby Portis at 58, but that price has risen up on the back of a 43-point performance without Giannis last time out, and I just really think that sort of performance from Portis and a $5,800 price tag is probably not the greatest mesh, I wouldn't have thought. The next game that we take a look at, we've got the Phoenix Suns and the Washington Wizards. Let's bring that one up. We know there's no Russell Westbrook. Of course, there's no Thomas Bryant either, who's out for the season with a torn ACL, but Bradley Beal will return. No spread or total out. Mo Wagner, 3,600. I think you've got to look at him as a great option for cash, as a great option for tournaments, although people will use him quite a bit. He had 26 points last game with Bryant going down. He should be at least a 20-point performer here. I like him a lot. Cam Johnson at 4,200 is rock solid, a good floor, but not much upside, while Davis Bertans is really inconsistent at this point, Bertans. It's hard to trust him completely. He's got 30-point upside. He could also have 18 points because of his inability to do anything else apart from score. Very hard to use DeAndre Ayton at this point, while Brad Beal's at 9,900, and that is a really strong high-end play. He should be a 50-point guy, especially with no Russell Westbrook around. 7,900 for Booker. I'm not sure about it. He hasn't been good, although last time he did have 44, so that's a pretty good performance. I don't know. I'm a little bit concerned about Booker at that sort of elevated salary, about that being a great option. I think we can probably do a little bit better. With no Westbrook, you can take a flyer on Raul Neto at 4,600, but that is an expensive price for Neto, who struggled last game and was outplayed by Ish Smith. He only had the 17 points, and I don't like the fact that his salary is up at 4,600. That takes away a fair chunk of that appeal. Bridges at 6,100. Look, on the back of last game's performance, you say that's great, but I don't think I trust that level of offensive explosion that we did see from McCall Bridges last time out. The Knicks and the Hornets is your next game that we're going to take a look at here. The Knicks are coming off a back-to-back, and of course, in true Tom Thibodeau style, he played a lot of minutes to his best players. Julius Randle's at 9,600. Now he's getting 50s left, right, and center. Does the back-to-back... I know Tom Thibodeau's not going to care about it. He's still going to play him his minutes. But does the back-to-back have an impact on Randle's legs, his fatigue, his ability to finish? That's where your concern is. But I'm not massively concerned. Love LaMelo Ball. He's putting up some great numbers. He's at 7,000. I don't think they're starting him yet, which is unfortunate. But he's averaging 42 DraftKings points over the last 5 games. I don't think the Knicks are really going to slow that down. Devontae Graham, despite not being able to hit a shot almost ever, he's still putting up some okay numbers, and over his last 3, he's averaging over 33 DraftKings points. I don't think I'd be totally into him, much like Mitchell Robinson at 55 and RJ Barrett at 71. Like, they're okay, but they're not really standing out to me as the greatest options. I think we look at a Gordon Hayward bounce back. He's at 7,900. It was a little bit disappointing from Hayward last time out. He had just the 20 points, but prior to that, he had a 43 and a 61, and the salary coming down under 8,000 is pretty intriguing to me. I think that would make a fair bit of sense there. Alfred Payton's at 64, and that's too expensive, while PJ Washington up to 64 also feels a little bit on the high side in my mind. Right, let's go on. The next game, we've got the Memphis Grizzlies taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers. We've still got no Ja Morant, no Darius Garland. Colin Sexton is questionable again. He's missed the last two, and with him out, it's been Damian Dotson stepping it up. 4,900 for Dotson. Now, if Sexton plays, I'm not sure I'd want to spend 4,900 on Dotto, but if Sexton's out, that looks to be a pretty good option to me. Okoro's at 36 and hasn't really done anything to suggest that he should be at a higher price, but there is going to be opportunity there. Same with Andre Drummond at 9.2, which looks like a relatively solid floor option, averaging 54 his last 3 times out against the Grizzlies. D'Anthony Melton's at 3,800, probably just a floor cash play for 22 to 23 points, which is totally fine, but not much total upside there. While Larry Nance is at 71, I reckon that's on the high side. And Kyle Anderson at 6,600, he really isn't getting it done at the moment, and I definitely know I don't want to spend that sort of money on him. The next game, the Philadelphia 76ers and the Atlanta Hawks. We know the Sixers are without a ton of players: Tobias Harris, Shake Milton, Seth Curry, Ben Simmons, but Joel Embiid is back. Paul Reed at 3,300. Now, not many people are going to use Paul Reed, and I think it's going to be more interesting if Mike Scott doesn't play, but Paul Reed can put up some numbers. He had 20 points in 26 minutes on Saturday in that depleted lineup, and at 3,300, it's not a bad little cheap buffer that you can throw in. Tyrese Maxey is going to be very popular. He's at 4,700, rightfully so, but with Embiid back, he is going to lose some usage. I still think he's worth looking at. Dakota Mathias at 3,900. Played a lot of minutes last time out as well. Had 25 points, which at that sort of salary is okay. It is hard to get too excited about him. I'd probably prefer to go with an Isaiah Joe at 4,100, who played more than Matthias last time out. The shots just didn't fall. He can be much better than that. Trae Young's dealing with a wrist issue. He's at 9,400. I won't spend up on him at that price. While Bogdan Bogdanovic is sidelined for the Hawks for the foreseeable future. So Kevin Huerter at 5,500 looks to be a pretty strong floor play. He is listed as probable to play. Embiid at 98. Yeah, look, Embiid should get 50 plus. Not big on Reddish particularly, or John Collins, although Collins at 74 is at least worth having in your tournament pool of players. But with the level of dysfunction with his quality of play so far this season, I find it pretty tough to get interested in using him. This next game is pretty interesting. It is the New Orleans Pelicans and the Dallas Mavericks. And I say it's interesting because Kristaps Porzingis is listed as a probable starter. Now, that's wild. I tell you what else is also wild. It was announced that Maxi Kleber is out due to testing positive to COVID-19, and then they listed him as questionable. So, will we get Kleber and Porzingis playing? I don't know. Richardson's out, Finney-Smith is out, and Brunson is out. I would assume that Kleber is out as well, but we don't know that at this point. But it's really, really intriguing nonetheless. Boban at 3,000. Do we look at him? Oh, it's so hard to recommend Boban Marjanovic. And 4,100 for James Johnson is definitely going to have some appeal if we hear news that Porzingis is out and if Kleber is out, because he's going to have to start, and we know he can put up big numbers. But that's really just a GPP option. 11,003, and Porzingis, if he plays, he's going to be on a minutes limit for sure. Doncic at 11,3 looks pretty good to me. He's putting up some solid numbers, while Cauley Stein's at 44. I think Porzingis returning can put a bit of a pin in that, but I don't mind Cauley Stein at that salary. Not outrageous. Tim Hardaway is up at 6,700. That is a big, big price for him. But with the lack of players around him, there is an opportunity. I think the Porzingis return might have an impact on him there. For the Pelicans, there's not much that I like. Maybe Ingram at 8,600. I can see that. That's okay. But Zion at 78, not interested. Steven Adams is questionable with a migraine. Maybe we look at Jackson Hayes at 3,100 if Adams can't go. Or would they start Mally and Zion there? They could potentially do that. So we could maybe have a flyer on Mally. I think I'd still prefer that flyer on Hayes in that sort of scenario. The next game we look at is the Indiana Pacers. They are taking on the Sacramento Kings. In Sacramento, of course, because I said their name last. This one is at 10 p.m. Eastern. TJ McConnell is out for Indiana, so that's going to probably increase the ball handling responsibilities of Aaron Holiday, who's at 3,300. Now, there's no denying that Holiday has been poor in the starting role in place of TJ Warren, but if he gets a little bit more run as a backup point guard at 3,300, get 20 points, I can see that happening. 6,900 for Victor Oladipo looks to be a pretty solid price, while Brogdon just continues to crush it at 8,300. He feels like he's good for 40 points every game. The other injury we need to check on here is Richaun Holmes. If he is out, you're going to get a boost of value for someone like Hassan Whiteside, unfortunately, and maybe we have to consider using Whiteside at least as a GPP guy if he's going to put up 28 fantasy points like he did last game in those 24 minutes. Because if he plays, he will put up numbers, and he is up to 4,200, but that is not a price that scares you too much. Sabonis at 9,300. If he gets to go up against Marvin Bagley continually, he might have 100. Bagley is one of the worst defenders in the NBA, and Sabonis will exploit that. I really like DeMontis at 9,300 here. De'Aaron Fox, Buddy Hield, not really. 6,200 for Tyrese Halliburton probably also feels a little bit on the high side if we're going to be completely honest, which I hope that I always am. The next game we look at is the Toronto Raptors and the Portland Trail Blazers. It is a back-to-back for the Raptors. They started small on Sunday against the Warriors. Will they do that again against the Blazers team who has Yusuf Nurkic and Enes Kanter at center? That might not happen. I reckon they might go with Chris Boucher. Boucher's at $6,000. I like him. There's upside value in using him there. And then we're looking at flyer types like Gary Trent or Derek Jones, who aren't particularly appealing, and it's only like a wild, hey, I hope 2% of people roster Gary Trent and he goes off, because he hasn't been going off at all. Nurkic is at 66, and he's starting to play to that value. I'm still not confident in using him, while Lillard at 9.7 also I'm not confident there. Do I use CJ McCollum at 8,800? I reckon you have to. He's just consistently doing it game after game. Usage is high, steal rate is high, assist rate is high. He's putting up good numbers. I like Van Vliet at 8,500 as well. I think there is some real appeal in using Freddles at that sort of salary. That'll do it for me today. Looking at your first look at the slate for Monday for DraftKings in the NBA. Hit the bell when you subscribe. Hit the thumbs up and leave a comment below. Guys, we are done here. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.